Hey guys, what's up? It's iFlynn here, and welcome to another video where we're gonna take a look at the Akbolto. Don't know why I started that video off kind of weird. I'm just kind of looking over at my monitor, looking at the little bar that like picks up my microphone, and I'm wondering like, is my noise gate working fine? I don't know. It's weird. It's just, you know, YouTuber things. But yeah, today we're taking a look at the Akbolto Prime. It's a crit build. It's a very powerful weapon. I recommend using it versus very high level enemies that have a lot of armor. As you're going to see in this video, it kind of just destroys them because, you know, reasons and high crit chance and, you know, high puncture stat and more reasons. So let's just go ahead and take a look at the weapon itself. So the stats, if we just go ahead and give ourselves a clean sheet right here, you can see that the stats at base, 26.7 accuracy, 36 crit chance, a crit multiplier of 2.8, fire rate of 7, magazine of 40, alarming, 1.3 reload speed, status chance of 14%, and then we have semi-auto trigger, which is a big downfall for this weapon. It'd be super cool if it was full auto, but we have 3.2 impact, 27.5% or, you know, 27.5 damage in puncture, if that makes any sense, 1.3 slash, and then, you know, obviously move on to config A, and you can see all those stats with our final build on it. So we have 28 impact, 245.6 puncture, 11.4 slash with a 103% or 103.3% crit chance and a 5.9 crit multiplier. Combine that with a 34.4% status chance. Pretty dope. I like the stats. They're pretty good. So this is the build. We have Hornet Strike, Barley Fusion, and Lethal Torn on here to up basically our main damage, right? So our base damage. Then we throw on the mods to up our crit chance and damage. So primed pistol gambit here for the crit chance, and then we have primed target cracker for the crit damage. This will up our, you know, the crit chance and the multiplier. Makes sense, right? Pathogen rounds and convulsion to give us more flat damage on the weapon because elements do that. Not only that, but they will give you a percentage increase in damage versus particular enemies. I don't know why I'm pausing. And then we have hydraulic crosshairs on here, which is going to up your crit chance on headshots while you're aiming down sights. So it's pretty cool. No idea why I did like the little standstill. Just in a weird mood. Don't understand it either. Now we're going to spawn in a level 150 heavy gunner. Like so. Here we go. Spawn him in. Settings. Level 150. Make ourselves invincible. Press exit. Simulate the bad guy. Jump over here. Not going to turn on any buffs, and we're just going to shoot this guy in the head with the trigger finger, and this guy's going to die. So you could shoot this far faster, okay? Understand that. I just don't want to, like, you know, give myself RSI by spamming the trigger, if that's clear. But, you know, let's just do it again. Let's just spam it this time and take him down super fast by spamming the trigger, I guess. It's weird because it feels like it kind of caps itself out at the same time. Like if you do try to spam it, like, you know, I don't know. It's a weird feeling. Yeah, it kind of like stops a little bit and it kind of breaks up your momentum a tad. Don't know why, but it's just kind of a thing that it does, and it's kind of meh, you know, man? So it's weird, but the Akbolto, it's definitely a weapon to pick up. It's super enjoyable, super fun. I believe the Akbolto Prime has a lower base damage whenever you compare it to something like the Telos Akbolto, but the thing that makes it, like, you know, a lot better is the fact that you have that higher crit chance, right? So the crit chance on the Telos Akbolto is only 10%, and you have a 2 times multiplier, where on the Akbolto Prime you have 36% crit chance and then a 2.8 times multiplier, which means you're just going to get more damage from the Akbolto Prime, right? So it just makes more sense to sort of run that, even though you do have higher base damage whenever you add all these three together. You don't have any slash damage on the Telos Akbolto. You do have it on the Bolto Prime, or the Akbolto Prime, which makes it just like a better weapon, realistically, because you have more of those different procs in there. You have more different damage types. So you're just going to do overall more damage, if that makes any sense. So it's just better to have more damage types than less, if that makes any sense. Some people might argue with that whenever it comes to like using a weapon like, you know, something that just has like an element on it, because then they can build it for pure status and then like use it to do a thing, like strip armor away from an enemy. But This weapon shreds through armor, and whenever we were killing that heavy gunner there, like that wasn't even taking into consideration any Warframe buffs that we could have up, which will make it even better. Of course, whenever you compare this type of weapon to something like the Akbolto Prime, the Akbolto Prime, whenever we're talking about ideal situations where, like, you know, enemy armor is removed and stuff like that, is going to have more overall sustained and burst DPS because, one, it's not semi-auto, two, it just has higher damage stats, I believe, and three, you have a mixture of status, chance, and crit in there, and it's just higher values. So, you know, the Akbolto's just going to be so much better than the Akboltos. So that's just my take on it. And you're going to use the exact same build on the Akbolto's that you are going to be using with the Akbolto. But keep in mind, if you're watching this video whenever the Akboltos come out, the Akbolto's are going to be the next prime weapon alongside Robin and the Fragger Prime to be vaulted. That's going to happen 6 months from now, I believe. So you want to get on top of like farming the Akbolto Prime set up if you haven't already. But if you have farmed up the Akbolto Prime or you missed it, then obviously then, you know, you can pick up the Akbolto and it'll do very well versus armored targets here. So I guess let's go ahead and test it out versus bombards. So what we're going to do is we're going to swap out our Pathdrum rounds mod here for a primed heated charge. And this is going to give us radiation damage, which is just more overall damage. One, because this is primed. And then obviously we just have the radiation damage on top of that. So we're going to get a 75% increase to our damage versus the bombards there. So let's just go ahead and spawn them in. Select, simulate. And then we're just going to jump and we're going to, you know, kill one of these guys here. I'm aware I spawned in 20, but you can see the amount of damage that you're dealing, and it's not like this is, you know, taking a lot of effort. We're not buffing ourselves up or anything. It's just because you have that high puncture stat and then you're modding for the correct element that makes this weapon so deadly. So, you know, this is something that, in my opinion, you definitely want to invest into as maybe a newer player, because these types of weapons will get you very far whenever it comes to, you know, basically just farming up your first primes, your initial prime parts. I think it's very important to keep in mind as well that because this is a crit weapon, go for headshots, because those headshots are going to give you like 8 times extra damage, right? So using a frame that can crowd control enemies, like, you know, let's say Equinox, putting them to sleep, because then you're also going to get like a bonus to your damage because they're unaware of your position. You know, any frame that can crowd control enemies, like even doing this with Mirage and blinding them like so, that will open you up to getting like stealth multipliers and obviously headshot multipliers and stuff like that, which will just overall increase your damage. What I would say, whenever it comes to the higher levels with this weapon, the ammo is what is going to let you down the most, and that's where the Akbolto, in my opinion as well, kind of trumps this weapon, if that makes any sense. So let's just go ahead and clear all these guys again, because obviously we're not going to be able to kill like all 20 bombards, but if we just go ahead and we spawn in 1 and then just do the test again, I guess, instead of being an idiot and spawning in 20. But let's just go ahead and see what we're like. Here we go. And he's almost dead. Like 1 magazine will get that kill, and it's pretty awesome. It's a super good weapon. I really enjoy using it. So yeah, this is the build, and then you can basically throw any build on here that you like, and then that is that's pretty much it. So, you know, other than that, the only real thing that you can be comparing it to, like I mentioned beforehand, is the Akboltos, and you can see the stats here. You have higher status in Akboltos. You have a little bit lower crit chance at base, but you can still get that crit chance up pretty high because of your prime mods, which is just going to make it do overall more DPS. But like I said, you bring your Warframe abilities into the mix. Like, let's say, for example, if you're playing as Haro and you're using the Akboltos, because this is a crit weapon, then you're going to give yourself some insane damage if you use your fourth ability to up your crit chance as well. So you're going to be going into red crit territory, possibly. So let's just go ahead and do this. And then what we're going to do is we're going to wait for this to run out. We've absorbed our 2,000 damage. And then we're going to go ahead and we're going to chain the enemy up. We're going to use our 2 to increase our fire rate and reload speed. And we're just going to go ham on the enemy's head, and he dies insanely quickly. Of course, there is other Warframe abilities in the game which will increase your damage, like Sonar and Banshee. You could even potentially just use Mesa. Like this will be a good set of weapons to use with Mesa, because you get the fire rate buff and stuff like that. And Mesa is just overall a very good buffer frame whenever it comes to buffing up your damage. Even though you're not building around sort of like buffing up your damage, you're more building around keeping yourself alive and dishing out a bunch of damage. But you can see how fast you kind of just murder the enemy there. It's a really good weapon, and you can pair it really well with, you know, other Warframes and stuff like that. So let's go ahead and use Nova, I guess, you know, just to demonstrate M Prime with this set of weapons. Pretty cool as well. So let's go ahead, hit our 4, like so. Wait for it to expand over to him, like that. And then shoot him in the head, if we can get him to stay still. A lot of damage. You get slash procs in there, you get puncture procs, you get your radiation procs. It's an insane weapon, and I 110% recommend picking it up. So anyway, guys, that is going to be it for this video. If you enjoyed it, go ahead, hit that like button below. If you want to see more Warframe content from me, hit subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.